France's exploitation in Africa has historical roots dating back to the colonial era. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, France established a significant colonial presence in Africa. Through the process of colonization known as the Scramble for Africa, the French Empire sought to exploit Africa's resources, labor, and markets for economic gain and strategic advantage. Resource extraction: France exploited African colonies for their rich natural resources, including minerals, rubber, timber, and agricultural products. This economic exploitation contributed to the development of the French economy, but often resulted in the depletion of African resources without commensurate benefits for the local populations. Forced labor: the French implemented forced labor systems in various colonies, compelling local populations to work on plantations, mines, and infrastructure projects. This practice furthered economic exploitation and contributed to the exploitation of African labor. Cultural imperialism: France imposed its language, culture, and education system on African colonies, promoting assimilation and eroding local cultures. This cultural imperialism aimed to create a sense of French superiority and control over the colonized territories. Social stratification: the French colonial administration often exacerbated existing ethnic and social divisions, employing a divide-and-rule strategy to maintain control. This manipulation of social structures created tensions that persist in some African nations today. Political exploitation: direct rule: France implemented a policy of direct rule in many African colonies where French administrators governed these territories. This centralized control limited the political agency of local populations and reinforced French authority. Economic policies: France implemented economic policies that favored the interests of the metropole mainland France over those of the colonies. Trade policies and taxation were designed to benefit French industries, often at the expense of African economic development. Post-colonial challenges: the legacy of French exploitation in Africa continues to influence the socio-economic and political landscape of many African countries. Unequal economic structures, political instability, and lingering social divisions are often traced back to the colonial era. Debt and dependence: some African nations continue to face economic challenges due to the debt incurred during the colonial period. Unequal trade relationships and economic dependencies persist, hindering the self-sufficiency and development of former French colonies. While colonialism formally ended, with African nations gaining independence in the mid-20th century, the effects of French exploitation are deeply ingrained in the history and current affairs of many African countries. Understanding this history is crucial for comprehending the complex dynamics shaping the relationships between France and its former African colonies.